Polymyositis what? What is that? Hello, my name is Crystal Irby. I am 29 years old. I reside here in the DMV area. I have 2 children. I am engaged. I have 3 cats. And I think the most important detail is that I did not have any prior medical issues before this. So I have been posting on my Facebook and my Instagram and a little bit of my TikTok, like a little bit, of what's been going on, of what I've been going through. I believe that I'm a pretty transparent person. However, I don't post all of the details. Like, I didn't post every little thing. So it left people with questions like, what's going on? Like, what happened to you? Why are you walking like that? Like, how long are you going to be like this? Like, are you feeling better? Where did it come from? It's just stemming all these questions. And it's like, I personally don't want to answer everyone's questions individually, like, because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around me having this new illness. So I'm truly hoping that this video helps me find my tribe, helps me find a friend, that may be going through the same thing as me. Because this is a rare illness. So, like, I've looked online, I've looked on YouTube, I did find a few people, like, I did see a few folks, like, on TikTok, I think. But yeah, I'm truly hoping that somebody just one day get on YouTube and find this video, like, wow, how do I reach her? I'm here. Before I get into, like, what happened or how it happened or what made me notice, what made me, I just want to say, like, and this is for those who don't know me. Like, if you know me, you know that these are facts, and you could probably add on more facts. But, I am a person who moves with a sense of urgency. I love to help others. I love to get things done when I want to get it done, how I want to get it done. I don't like asking for help. um, that's one thing I had to learn. But I don't like asking for help. I like to get things done myself. I move very fast, Well, before this, I moved very fast. Very down to earth, very humble, goofy at times, I think I'm a chill person. I have to think that I'm a very, chill person. I like to think so. Let's go ahead and start off with the story. This is my first video. Like, I'm not good at this. I could talk all day, but I'd be all over the place. So I have, like, a little book here with a little outline, and hopefully I could follow this and get this video done. I started to experience pains in my lower back and in my right hip. Now, the lower back pain, I didn't really pay any mind because that really started, like, back in '07 when I had my first daughter. After the epidural, my back was never the same. So I've always experienced back pains. I just dealt with it. I was like, oh, it's because of the epidural. That's just my back forever, And again, I started to have pain in my right hip as well. I didn't really pay that too much mind either, honestly, because the pain didn't stay. It ain't like, okay, well, I have pain in my right hip and it's been hurting for the last hour. No, like, it'll come hurt for a little bit and then go away and I'll go with my day. So, like, honestly, if I had a pain anywhere and it didn't stay, and didn't, like, mess my day up or whatever, like, I was still able to get stuff done, I didn't pay it any mind. Like, if it got bad, I'll probably go and, and get medicine for it. Other than that, if I had pain and it didn't stay, I'm going on about my day. Like, you're not even going to know I'm dealing with it unless it really, really hurts. And again, even if it really, really hurts, if it don't stay, I'm probably going to ignore it. I am someone who did not listen to my body, and I'm paying for it. Let's say about September is when I really started to complain about this pain in my right hip. I didn't do anything about it. I noticed that it started to hurt longer. So instead of it just being like a, boom, 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 hurt, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would hurt for a few minutes, or I'll be standing there and it'll start hurting, or I'll be walking and it'll hurt. But again, it wouldn't just go away. It would come and stay a little longer and then it'll go away. September is really where my life started to change. Like, there was a lot of changes. I got a new job. I wasn't as physically busy as I was in my last job at all. We were also in the midst of getting our first home. So like around that time I was still in the midst of getting a home. Oh, I think we already closed on it. I don't have my dates together, but I will say we did move in here like early October. So I have the new job with me not being as active. Then we moved. For me personally, it moved my commute to and from work. Instead of being like 25-30 minutes, it's now like 45 minutes to an hour, and that's to and from. Like in the October, November ish, I started to notice like back of my calf muscles jaw like hurt. They hurt. It wasn't like I woke up one day and it was like it was like burning. No, it wasn't that. Like they started to ache already. But again, I'm someone who don't listen to my body, and I just thought that actually I'm taking that back. Because I mean, I don't listen all the time, but it's not like, okay, well, if something goes wrong, I'm ignore it. It's not that. I'm going to try to figure out what it is and try to fix it, like what caused it. I'm not going to just totally ignore it. So let me clear that up. So, like, when my legs started to hurt, I just started to, like, try to pinpoint what could be the cause. Because now it's my lower back and my legs. Like, it's so crazy. Because it's just so crazy. It was my lower back, my right hip, and then it went down my legs. But it was the right hip. My thighs didn't really hurt. It's like they were like stretchy. Like that's the only word I could think of. But the back of both of my legs, they started to hurt, and it's like every day it got worse and worse. So at this point, I'm trying to pinpoint like where could it have came from. I mean, did it come from the move? I'm like, no, like Tim doesn't allow us to pick up and move heavy things. I know for a fact it wasn't the move. Or maybe it's the commute and the new job because I'm sitting down a lot more than I was before. Maybe it's the new mattress. Time goes on, and it's not a lot of time because we're in November now. I notice my arms are weaker, and I'm like, maybe I'm laying on them too much. Like, I don't know. What I thought it was I thought that my body was just like tense. Like my body was just knotted all up and I needed a really good massage or stretch. So a few of my friends, they did suggest to go to like a chiropractor. I could be a bit stubborn. So I'm gonna hear you out, but I'm gonna do what I think is best for me at the end of the day. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So granted, I thought a chiropractor would probably be a good idea, but I said, let me just try to stretch these muscles out first. And I went to get a nice stretch from the stretch loft. And both of them did not work. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, and it's okay because I mean, the issue wasn't that I needed to stretch. So the fact that it didn't work is not a bad thing. I did feel a little bit better after the stretches, but, it didn't work. Time goes on and stuff's getting worse. Like, and at this point, it's not even like I can't remember exactly when the whole like pain in my right hip. It wasn't like a thing anymore. I don't know. Like it was just really my back. My lower back was hurting like bad, and like the back of my legs, both of my calf muscles was hurting. I talked to people, and the first thing that we thought it could have been was the sciatica. So I went with that. I looked it up on Google. I was like, oh, this is it. Okay. But then I seen that there wasn't really much that I could do. People were suggesting like shots in my back and stuff like that. But all in all, I figured that there wasn't much that I could do about that. So that's kind of what brought me to the stretches. Is I was like, well, let me just try to stretch it out. I don't know. So after seeing that neither one of the stretches worked, I'm like, all right, so maybe a stretch is not what I need. Let me just go to the hospital because at this point, this stuff is getting worse. I'm in pain and I need answers. Like, what's going on? What do I need to do? What did I do wrong? Like, I went to the hospital and I explained what I was feeling to the best of my ability, and they ended up giving me 2 prescriptions, one for ibuprofen and then one for like 5 steroid pills. And then they gave me a shot for inflammation because at this point, not only is my lower back and my legs hurting, my legs are like really, really swollen. Like I can't lift them up. My arms are like weak. When I reach my hand out, I can't even really do it. I got my hand was shake like this, and they sent me home with the prescriptions and the information shot. And the information shot, I felt like I felt a tad bit better, like for like an hour or so. I think it could be amount of matter because I'm like, oh, I got a shot, so it helped. I don't think it really did anything. I don't know, but yeah, they did that, and then they gave me a referral for a spinal doctor. They told me that I had a herniated disc. So they told me that what I needed to do was the next day reach out to the spinal doctor, tell them that I went to the ER, that I have a referral to be seen, and that I need to get an X-ray or whatever to see what the issue was. Cool. The next day, I called the doctor they gave me the referral for, and basically they told me that um, the referral from the ER wasn't good enough. That I needed to have a referral from a PCP. Now, I had just like recently moved into this area, so I didn't have a PCP for the area yet, but I do have insurance, so I went online and I found one. I found someone who was taking new patients, and I'm like, I just need to just go in and explain to them what's going on, and hopefully get a referral to a specialist for whatever the case is. I found a PCP. I got an appointment to go in a few days later, and I did. And again, I explained to him what was going on. He couldn't tell me anything at the time, which was fine. So he did tell me that he wanted me to get an MRI, and that even after we got the MRI, I may have to get a second opinion from a neurologist, which was totally fine with me. So, right after the visit, I went and got blood work and I scheduled the MRI. It was a Monday that I scheduled it. And like at this point, I'm just like anxious to get this done because like what's going on, and if the MRI is what needs to be done to give you the answers you need, then I need to get it done, right? So when I went to schedule the MRI, they told me that everything's good to go for now. If your insurance denies this request, then you'll hear back within 4 business days. So after the third day, I'm not gonna lie, I started calling like, "Hey, what's the status?" Da, 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 da. And they just kept saying it's pending, it's pending, it's pending. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I think like on a Friday or a Saturday, I called the technician who answered the phone for me. He told me it was pending, but he told me that I don't know exactly what day it was of the week. I think this day like a Thursday or something like that. But I called and he told me that the status was still pending because they were waiting for a clinical note from the doctor's office. And I'm like, I could have sworn they already provided everything that they needed. But okay, so I called the doctor's office. I'm like, hey, they're waiting for this. Can you provide this so we can get it moving or whatever? They're like, oh, we already sent it, but okay, we'll send it again. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it had to been some time during that week, like Thursday or Friday, something like that. So I called back like Saturday, Sunday, like that weekend. Like, hey, update. They're like, hey, there's no update. Blah, blah. I mean, just still pending. And I'm like, look, I can't wait no more. So I went back to the hospital, but I went to a different one because the hospital I went to before, it's smaller. And I remember the doctor telling me that me getting like an MRI would be good, but they don't have the equipment at that hospital to do certain tests. So I'm like, I'm not even going to go back there. Let me go over here where I know for a fact they have more stuff. I mean, it's crazy because I didn't even feel like going. I hate going to the doctor in the hospital. I didn't even feel like going. I woke up like around 9 something. I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. Went to the hospital like around 9 something. They didn't call me. They didn't call me to the back till like 3 in the morning. But I sat there. I dozed off a few times, but I sat there patiently waiting because no, I need some help. About 3 in the morning, they call me back there. I go to the back and I'm just explaining myself over and over again. I mean, they give me an IV, but when they see my legs, they was just like, what the? Okay, so we're going to give you an MRI on your brain, your neck, and your back, your lower back, and we're going to give you an ultrasound on your legs to check for blood clots. I'm like, all right, cool. So I got an MRI there, which was very interesting. I was on the table for a few hours, actually. But the MRI went pretty well. They allowed me to listen to some R&B music and to help me to relax. And I did pretty well. I didn't start to feel like any pain until like the end. Well, like the middle. But when I did have pain, they came and gave me some shot, and I was okay again. And then towards the end, that's when some pain came back. But I stuck through it, and we got it done. But anyway, the MRI went good, and then I got the ultrasound on my legs to check for blood clots. That went well as well. The results for both came back, and there were no blood clots on the ultrasound, which was great. On the MRI, the doctor said that they seen muscle inflammation and pretty much told me that I needed to go see a specialist, and that what I had going on, they were unable to assist me with at the emergency room. So I'm like, okay. So he told me that he spoke to a doctor already. To be specific, he spoke to a rheumatologist. He told me that he spoke with someone already to help me be seen sooner, like as soon as possible or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. They also pre-diagnosed me with an illness, and it was called polymyositis. I was like, polymyo what? What is that? He explained it to me the best that he can. So he's like, yeah, you need to go see a rheumatologist. I talked to somebody already. I'll mark his name on the paper. They're going to give you a call today, but when you leave, as soon as you get to the car, give them a call to set an appointment. I'm like, okay, cool. My mom came and got me, and when I got in the car, I called the doctor's office. I'm like, hey, I'm just leaving the ER, and I was told to give you guys a call to set an appointment to be seen as soon as possible. When can I come in? And the girl's like, hey, we don't have anything to March. I'm like, March? Okay, thanks. So I'm a little upset, because I'm like, he just told me that he talked to these people, and they're telling me March, but it's okay. I mean, they gave me the list with his name on it, and then two other doctors or two other rheumatologists. So I called the other ones. No luck. Like, there was late appointments, and I needed to be seen like ASAP. Well, I text my aunt. I'm like, hey, do you know any rheumatologists or whatever? And she swears by one, so it took me no time. I'm like, all right, I called them, and I set an appointment, and luckily I got an appointment. It was sooner than the other ones, because the other, like, everything was like late, like late out or whatever. But this one was, I think, like the next week or something like that. So I was like, I'll take it. It's fine. So I finally get home, maybe like an hour and a half later or so, and I get a call from that doctor's office, the one that I called, and they told me that, they didn't have anything till March, or the one that the doctor called and told me that, he spoke to the doctor already. They called me. The doctor himself didn't call me, but somebody from the office called me, and she's like, hey, Miss Irby, just give me a call so we can set an appointment for you to come in. And I'm like, well, I called you guys this morning, and you guys told me that there wasn't anything open until March. She's like, yeah, we spoke to the doctor, and I can get you in. I'm like, well, how soon? She's like, as soon as tomorrow, as early as tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I went the next day and met the rheumatologist, and I bought all of the papers that I got from both hospitals. They give you IVs and take blood and all that other stuff, but I don't know what all that stuff is for. I don't even when they give you the printout, I don't even know what half of that stuff even mean. So if you had any questions about what may have happened in the hospital, what they did or whatever, you can see right there, because, I don't know everything. So he's going through the paperwork or whatever, and he's like, did they test you for your CK levels? And I'm like, well, if it's not in the packet, then I guess not. I'm not too sure. So he looked through it. He didn't see it. And I don't know what the hell a CK level is, but he's the doctor. And if he needs to see a CK level, then we need to give him a CK level so we can move forward, okay? So yeah, we talked and everything, and about the whole pre-diagnosis and what needs to happen in order to find out exactly what it is. And long story short, there were tests that needed to be ran, and I needed to get a biopsy, which blew me. Like, I was like, what? Visit. He was like, yeah, after the visit, I need you to go get a x-ray on your chest, and I need you to get blood work done. I need to know what your CK levels are. If they're low, we're going to do this. If they're high, we're going to do this. Yeah. So after the doctor visit, I went downstairs, because everything's in the same building, which I love. I went downstairs and got the x-ray done, took a few seconds. Got the blood work done, took a few seconds. And I was told that I will be, they'll reach out to me within 24 to 48 hours to let me know the results. I got a call the next day. from the rheumatologist himself. He didn't mention anything about the x-ray, so I'm assuming that was fine. But he definitely did mention the CK levels, and he told me that my CK levels was at 16,000. 16,000 is not the exact number. It was like 15,940 something, or something like that. But I'm like, okay, well, what is it supposed to be? I think he mentioned, I'm gonna look it up, but I think he said something like, you don't want to go beyond like 200. I think he said something like that. And I'm like, you said mine is 16,000? He said, yes. He said, I need you to go to the hospital. He gave me the hospital name. No later than tomorrow to be admitted. I'm like, to be admitted? He's like, yeah. I said, well, can I go on Saturday? And I know. If you don't know me, you're like, can you go on Saturday? If he told you to go tomorrow, why would you ask to go on Saturday? If you know me, there you go. That's that's the explanation. I just didn't want to go to the hospital. But hey, he said to go tomorrow, so I'm like, all right, cool. He basically asked me like, hey, what time would you want to go? He's like, I'm going to follow up with you tomorrow. Because before you go to the hospital, I'm going to make a call, and then I want you to go ahead and go. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm not going until he make this call. But I'm going to still get ready because, yeah. So the next day comes. My mom actually came over and she brought me this nice suitcase luggage thingy, and she helped me pack my stuff. I packed everything. I didn't pack everything, but I packed like some pajama clothes, toothbrush, deodorant, my work laptop, charger, I packed stuff. And we went to the hospital. She dropped me off. She actually went in with me, but they eventually made her leave because of the whole COVID thing. Even though I was being admitted, I had to still go through the whole ER chronicles. Honestly, I think this is where things really started to change because, like, my CK levels were so high. Like, and my legs were so swollen. Like, and all these people were coming in, asking me questions, asking to look at my legs and my thighs, and it was just so much. It was so much. However, I'm young and black, what I'm saying? I'm in the joint with my little faux lock, and I'm very, my energy is strong. So I just don't want to come off, bitchy, because it's like, you guys are asking me questions, and telling me things, but I need to understand what all this is. So, I just try to, remain respectful, which of course I did, and positive, because at the end of the day, these people are here to help. They're not here to hurt me. They're here to help me, and they're asking me questions to better understand what's going on, what needs to be done, etc., etc. So, but yeah, that's what things really, really like changed for me. Like, yeah, that's what things really, really changed for me. But I will say this. I went into the hospital on February 4th. I didn't come home until March 1st. Like, so when I went in that day, I didn't come home till March 1st. That's a whole nother story. I ended up getting the biopsy. They had to go into my left leg, my left thigh, and pull a piece of muscle out, to help with testing to figure out exactly what's going on, and it is my polymyositis. Yeah, I think my biggest thing was I was just a little scared because I was like, dang, like I was pre-diagnosed with this illness, but what if I get this biopsy and it comes back as something else that we never even like mentioned? Like, I don't got time for that. So granted, this illness is still like scary or whatever. I'm just glad that it is what they had already said it was. Polymyositis is a disease that causes muscles to become irritated and inflamed. The muscles eventually start to break down and become weak. The condition can affect muscles all over the body. This can make even simple movements difficult. And which it truly, truly does. Like, it really, really does. The issues, the things that I go through right now that's hard to do, it had already started. Like, in November, December. It wasn't as bad, and I didn't know what it was, but now it's like worse or whatever. But this illness, it really changed things for me. It really, really did. I mean, from the finding out what it, going through what I was going through to figure out what was going on, being in the hospital for so long, and then just living now. It's like everything is a hassle. But I don't drive. It's hard to walk. It's not really, well, yeah, it's hard to walk. It's hard to stand. It's hard to get up from seats. It's hard to sit up. Um, because of the muscle weakness, it's hard to pull things and push things. Heavy things, like I could pick up my phone. I can pick up light stuff, but heavy stuff I can't. Like, it's hard to reach for things. Um, Everything is a hassle. Getting dressed is a hassle. Getting undressed is a hassle. Taking a shower is a hassle. Brushing my teeth isn't all that bad. I found like a way around that or whatever. Washing my face. I can't do my hair. My daughter, I asked her to fix my hair so I could do a video. So she did my hair and my edges for me. Um, but yeah, being on these different medications, because like I'm on a few medications right now, but one thing I can't stand is a steroid. Like, my face look horrible. Like, I've always had acne prone skin, but sis, I've never had it. Look at this. And then it goes down here to my chest and like to my arms. I think that my challenges right now is just getting around. Like, it's just so slow. Like, the other day we went to a few stores and Tim and Kennedy helped me out with making sure that I had like a ride on cart. And I'm so glad that the batteries were charged on all of those. It's hard to make it to the restroom sometimes. I do have tools that I use to help me get things done easier. I do have a shower bench. I do have a walker. I do have a cane. I walk with both. Around the house, I don't really use too much around the house. I do use a cane um, sometimes, but primarily I use a cane. The walker is really for like if I'm going to be out walking a lot, I'll use the walker. I have a commode that goes over the toilet because the standard toilet is just way too low. I have a bed rail. I also use a step stool to get into the bed because my legs, like, they're so weak. Like, it's hard to get them up. Like, it's hard to lift my legs up, you know? And then, like, I can't, how, like, you get in the bed, like, I can't explain it, with a knee first. Like, you'll get in with a knee. I can't do that. So I'll step on the step stool, pivot, right? Sit on the bed, and then I have to lift my legs up, or Tim does it, or Kennedy does it. But my legs need to be lifted up onto the bed because I can't lift them and put them on the bed myself. I lift my legs to get in the bed. I lift my legs if I want to cross it. If I want to cross them, I lift my legs with my hands. I lift my legs to get in a car. And I think the hardest thing is getting into the shower, like getting into, because you got to like lift your leg to get in the tub. So like that's hard. Oh, and then my stepdad, he also came over and he um installed some like some bars in the shower, which is super super helpful. But yeah, I think like the hardest thing, I don't think there is a hardest thing, but it's just like the self-care aspect of it, like putting on lotion or washing my body or just being able to just do stuff like. So one thing that worries me right now is like my CK level in the hospital. It dropped down to like 11,000 something, then down to 9, then back up to 9. I mean, then back up to 11. Then right before I left the hospital, it went down to 5,000. But day for yesterday, I got a call from the doctor's office, and it is back up to almost 9,000. So I have to go back to the hospital. Not the hospital. I have to go back to the doctor on Monday. I just really hope that, because basically, like, they're going to put me on another medication. and they're going to wean me off of the steroid and put me on a medication. So I hope that helps this. Like, I don't know, the whole thing is just scary. And I haven't sat and like really cried about this, or yelled or just let it all out, And mainly because, again, like I mentioned earlier, I found out I got a pre-diagnosis, and then a few days later I was in the hospital. And once I got into the hospital, I was never really like alone. Like, granted, you don't have to be like all loud and everything when you're crying, but I wanted to, why? But I didn't have the space or the time alone to do that. And I'm assuming that I truly didn't want to, because if I really wanted to get that out, I would have, and now I can, but I don't know, like, this whole thing is still a big shock to me. Crying about it is not going to do anything for me. I truly just want to feel better. Like, I want to feel better, and I want a guaranteed answer. Like, is this it for me? Like, is this my life? Am I going to feel better? Because the little things that I want to do, I can't do it. I can't really walk or run or jump or climb. If I want to go swimming, I can't do that. Ride a bike, can't do that. Like, if I wanted to, it's so much that I want to do that I'm unable to do. I will say that I am grateful for my family that's here to help me. My mom, my fiance, my children. They do help me a lot. I know it probably gets irritating. They may not mind, but I feel like I'm bothering them. So sometimes I just try to like just do something myself, so I don't have to ask them. Sometimes I feel like I become a bother, like, cause I can't do a lot, I'll be laying on the bed and I'm like, dang, like, I'm laying there and my legs are cold. I'm like, Tim, can you put the cover on my legs? I can't even do that because it's hard to do, This video was pretty much all over the place, but hopefully it answered some type of questions. Feel free to comment down below with any questions that you may have, or, if there's anything else that you want me to kind of talk about or elaborate on, then I will. I figured that, again, I take this to YouTube because I can talk to the camera however long I want and with no interruptions or feeling any type of way. So I'll be coming here, making videos and sharing with you guys. But I'm truly hoping that I could find somebody who's going through the same thing that I'm going through, and maybe we can uplift each other and keep each other strong and moving along. So that is it for my first video. Please like and subscribe if you like to see any other videos that I post. Feel free to share with your family and friends. There may be somebody out there that you know or may not know who's going through this, or know someone else who's going. You never know, so just share it. Yeah. See you soon.